Hello and welcome to Babel Yak's Russian Lesson 6. Do you remember how to ask, "Do you have any rubles?"
У вас есть рубли?
Let's listen to the speaker say, "I have 1 ruble."
У меня есть 1 рубль.
You already know all the words to this sentence, except the number 1, when the speaker says 1 ruble. Listen and repeat to the Russian word for 1.
Один. Один.
In the previous lesson, you learned to ask and say, "Do you have any rubles?" and "I have rubles." In this situation, the speaker is only referring to 1 ruble. Listen and repeat to the speaker say, 1 ruble.
1 рубль. 1 рубль.
You've already learned the Russian word for rubles, the plural form, or
Рубли.
but can you now say the Russian word for ruble, as in 1 ruble?
1 рубль. 1 рубль.
From what you've learned, try to ask, "Do you have 1 ruble?"
У вас есть 1 рубль? У вас есть 1 рубль?
Now let's hear the speaker ask, "Do you have $2?" Listen.
У вас есть 2 доллара? У вас есть 2 доллара?
Let's hear again the Russian word for the number 2.
2. 2.
Can you remember the Russian word for 1?
1.
Let's listen to the speaker say, 2 rubles.
2 рубля. 2 рубля.
In Russian, when making a noun plural in numbers of 2, 3, and 4, the ending is different. Listen to the speaker say 2 rubles or 4 rubles.
2 рубля. 4 рубля.
But if you would like to say in Russian the plural of rubles for 5 and above, it becomes
5 рублей.
which takes the same form that you learned in the previous lesson when asking, "Do you have any rubles?" Do you remember how to say 1 ruble?
1 рубль. 1 рубль.
Now try to say 2 rubles.
2 рубля. 2 рубля.
Listen to the Russian word for the number 5.
5. 5.
Try to say in Russian 5 rubles.
5 рублей. 5 рублей.
Can you ask in Russian, do you have 1 ruble?
У вас есть 1 рубль? У вас есть 1 рубль?
Let's imagine that when you asked this question, the speaker's response was, yes, but I don't have any dollars. Listen.
Да, но у меня нет долларов. Да, но у меня нет долларов.
You already know how to say I have and I don't have, but now can you remember to say in Russian, you have?
У вас есть. У вас есть.
Before we move on, do you remember how to say in Russian, I don't have?
У меня нет. У меня нет.
And with what you know now, let's listen and repeat after the speaker saying, you don't have.
У вас нет? У вас нет?
With what you've learned, say in this order, I don't have, you don't have.
У меня нет. У вас нет? У меня нет. У вас нет?
How do you say excuse me in Russian?
Прошу прощения. Прошу прощения.
Now let's imagine that you're visiting Tverskaya Street. A Russian person comes up to you and asks, do you know where the restaurant is? Your response is, the restaurant? I don't know.
Ресторан? Я не знаю. Ресторан? Я не знаю.
Now let's imagine you're out to dinner with a friend. The bill comes, and your friend asks, how many rubles do you have? Listen.
Сколько рублей у вас есть? Сколько рублей у вас есть?
You already know all the words to this sentence, except one, how many. In Russian, how many is just one word. Listen and repeat to the speaker ask, how many?
Сколько? Сколько?
How would you ask in Russian, how many?
Сколько? Сколько?
With what you've learned, can you ask in Russian, how many rubles do you have?
Сколько рублей у вас есть? Сколько рублей у вас есть?
Do you remember the Russian word for the number 5?
5.